today with energy because it is a pay-per-view week. It's good to hear that laugh, my man. How are you?
Very good, very good. Wow, I tell you, interactive podcast now. People are calling in. Wait, this thing is really taking off. Crazy.
Yeah, I think it's more incumbent upon me to make sure that I ask Cody Merrow to get us those voicemails a little bit earlier, but we will have voicemails on the show next week. None today. There were a couple good ones, though. None today that we thought were warranted being on the air. But how are you doing, man? I mean, how's this weighing on your mind, the isolation, everything else over the last 7 days?
I gotta tell you, I feel like it's. I'm starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I really do. I don't know. I was listening to you guys talk. Definitely excited about the fights. I mean, I think, like Kenny was saying, like I love the fight. So I mean, it's going to give you a sense of some sort of normalcy getting back to watching the fights. Because when was the last time a fight was on? Do we even know? How long ago was that?
So it was March 14th in Brasilia, a week after the last pay-per-view.
Isn't that crazy, Mr. Roma? 2 months.
Right.
So this is big, and like again, I think it'll at least give people if that's what you were into, and that's most of the people we're surrounded by, that's what they're into. So I think it'll give the people a sense of, man, okay, something's going on. But I am seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We have one of those disinfecting crews at the gym today, so we're getting ready to open up, and hopefully that's within a couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you got to get Aljamain Sterling at least back in those doors with some bodies before June 6th, if it's safe to do so. I know he did mention on social media, Ray, that June 6th is going to be the date. So pretty exciting. That aligns to potentially be a pay-per-view UFC 250. You got to feel good about that, I would think.
Yeah, really good. And I'll tell you, he's got really good guys right now, so I couldn't ask for more. I don't think he could either with the people he's training with. So I feel really good about that. And then I'm going to say, probably next week we'll be back in the gym. Hopefully. What's today's date? The 4th?
You got a lot of questions for us today, Ray. May 4th is the date.
Yeah, so I don't know, because right now he's training, basically at Al's, but I think the quality of guys he has is awesome. The conditions, I'm going to say, aren't, but, I think he's doing a great job so far, sending me to sparring and all of that stuff, so it looks good.
We are going to get your thoughts on the 2 title fights, but before that, Merab Dvalishvili, UFC bantamweight contender, hopeful type from the great nation of Georgia. Have you been following what he's been doing on social media? Building like a rope swing and climbing trees. And
I mean, have you ever seen a guy that loves life more than this guy? I mean, I can't tell you. I know I've said it a million times, but you cannot meet this guy and not love him. He is really he's so genuine and sincere, and you could see you're not getting that guy down. When he started swinging his bicycle around, like he had a 45-pound plate, and the guy's great. From day one, he has never displayed any type of negativity at all. Nothing, like zero. He just, he makes the best of what he's got. And I think when you come from a country like where he's come from, and you see all the, the things that you could get in America, this is a big deal for him. But he's, like a rope swing, to somebody else might just be a rope, piece of rope from a tree. To him, man, it's something to have a blast on and put in his training. And I think just watching him, even at Al's, jumping into water, he's crazy. Loving life, that guy, and for all the right reasons.
No, I think you put it well. He truly does have a zest for life and a happiness vibe about him that obviously has helped his teammates. You've talked a lot about him and Aljo and Al and the bond that they have. How did that come to pass that Merab aligned with you guys? When was that?
I mean, look, we could discuss that another time because it's kind of a long story. But I was the long and short of it. I had Weidman at Henzo's in the city, and his roommate was another guy from Georgia that fought Eddie Gordon at the Ring of Combat, and we were upstairs in the gym, and he came over and, hey, you remember me? And I really didn't, but he said Eddie Gordon, and I go, yeah, I remember. I do remember you. And I go, yeah, what's up? What are you doing here? He was just training for a fight. And I go, you live in New York? He goes, no, I live in Garden City. I'm like, Garden City? Like, I thought it was so weird that. I would have never. That would have been the last place I thought he would say. And I said, well, hey, they got the gym in Garden City if you want to stop by. And he brought Marab down, and they were kind of hooked up with some other guys that were a little wacky. So I had to go in there and just take care of that for them. And then they came to the gym, and that was it, man. And I'll tell you what, I watched that kid really grow. He always, was in shape, but I would say Aljo would torture him with the wrestling back then. He's a guy that really, he learned, that win or learn, whatever the saying is, that's him, man. But if he loses, it's a win for him because he's going to learn from it. And I watched him do this his last 10 fights, so, that's how he came to the gym, and he's really gotten just so much better from the people that he was around. That it's been great to watch and great to see him grow. It's just phenomenal.
Ray, we have an amazing main event. Tony Ferguson taking on Justin Gaethje, two guys that love to move forward. Two of perhaps the most exciting fighters in the UFC going to go at it here. Who wins this fight?
It's interesting. Gaethje obviously could win it. There's no question about it. But I'm going to go with Ferguson for being a little more durable, and we'll probably mix it up more. And the interesting part now is that Gaethje has had more time to prepare. So, if you go back to the way it was, the first fight, if it happened in April, would have been, I think, even better, because I think Gaethje knew he had 15 minutes in him and he was just going to go completely apeshit, which would have made for an exciting fight. So we'll see if the strategy changes. I don't think it will, because I think it's just in Gaethje's blood to do exactly what he's doing. I think he openly expresses that, defense is second. I'm going forward, man, and I'm throwing hard. And he can get anybody out of there on any given day. I just think Ferguson is... Ferguson is more well-rounded, and again, there's something with Ferguson. I always say, when you see his opponents after the fight, he's got to have bricks in his hands. That guy, because he cuts you up, he bangs you up. They look miserable in a couple of rounds. So it should be interesting. But I'm going with Ferguson on that.
And Ray, any updates this week? Did you get any free Ferraris delivered to your house? Any summer homes? Anything like that this week?
No, nothing. No, I'm kind of. I feel a little lit this week. Nothing came from my house.
Ferrari must have got lost.
Oh no! You said the Ferraris. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, we might have shot too big on that one.
All right.
So I got the chance to talk to all four of the championship competing athletes on Friday: Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, Henry Cejudo, Dominic Cruz. And I have to say, to a man, they all sounded so goddamn ready to go, right? That there was no lean for me possibly one way or the other after talking to them. Four athletes that appear primed and ready for May 9th. As far as the bantamweight title fight is concerned, obviously your guy Aljo is there entrenched as the number 2 ranked contender. He's on the winning streak. Marais is there at number 1, but people think that he shouldn't have gotten the nod against Jose Aldo. So Aljo's going to fight Corey Sandhagen, in all likelihood, the number 4 guy in the world. And Dominic Cruz, who is unranked and hasn't competed since 2016, is getting the title fight. Now, circumstances aside, global pandemic aside, how, Ray, do you go about handicapping Dominic Cruz's chances against Henry Cejudo, who, even though he had an invasive shoulder surgery, appears to be the far more primed athlete right now in 2020?
Yeah, well, that's the key. Even though Dominic always, goes public with saying ring rust doesn't exist, who knows how his body's going to hold up. The other guy's definitely the fresher of the two. I don't think, Demetrius Johnson had great footwork, but Dominic could pose a problem for him, but I just don't know if he could pose it for 5 rounds. So I'm going to go with Cejudo, but it's a big undertaking for Dominic Cruz, but I do think that's what makes him get up for fights, you know what I mean? And I think, he's going to put his all into it. That's an interesting matchup. It really is, because, Cruz's movement, if he could keep it up, could be a problem. But that's the question to me is, he hasn't done anything, and I don't know. He's got the height, he's got the reach. He could pose a big problem for Cejudo.
Yeah.
So Ken Flo's got to make 12 predictions today on Monday during fight week. Nothing really fun about that. I mean, there's no heavy lifting for me today, essentially. I'm just going to be teeing these guys up and laying out. So Ray, before I let you go, you're Saturday, right? This Saturday, May 9th. How excited are you to sit down and watch fights and have something like a live sporting event legitimately on the calendar? Like, are you going to watch all 12 of these things on Saturday?
Well, of course, no, seriously. Like, look, you guys know we're starving for something. You know, I don't know, like, again, I'm sure you're seeing the same coverage as I am, but I mean, New York, you keep going to those pandemic channels and, you know, CNN and Fox. You will drive yourself nuts. You know, besides the political pettiness that's going on, it is. There's been days where I just won't turn the TV on, you know, so luckily we have, you know, movies and stuff like that. You know, I do movie night with the family and all shit like that. But, I'm dying for something, you know what I mean? So I'm watching I don't think I'll move out of my seat, to be honest with you. I want to see every one of those fights. And I just want to see how it's going to go off, because that's going to impact, you know, the future the next couple of weeks too. So does it go off without a hitch? How's it going to be with no audience? You know, it's interesting, but I'm still there with my popcorn front and center looking at that TV.
Yeah. What are you drinking? You drinking water? You drink Diet Coke? What do you got?
No, water. I'm basic. I'm a basic, simple. I'm a simpleton, John.
Yeah.
Simpleton, water.
You put butter on the popcorn? I mean, is that microwavable popcorn? You got a popcorn machine? What are we doing?
Is that what we're down to?
Well, no, you piqued my curiosity. I'm hungry
I put the ghee butter on, so it's good for me. I get the good fat.
Oh, this ghee butter, you know, just way over my head. All right, my man. Well, hey, enjoy the pay-per-view. I'm sure you and I will be communicating this week, obviously, leading up to the show. And I guess we will recap it all with you next Monday, unless you got anything else, Raymond.
Nah, that's it, my man. I feel like I see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think it's probably because of the fights that, like, again, will make it appear that, you know, this is what we need. We need something to motivate us and move us forward. So I think the timing is perfect now. You know, I think everybody's ready to move on and take a shot with this thing that was just going on and get back to normal. So I'm excited.
All right, man. Well, we will talk to you next week. And honestly, if you can't figure out the video by next week, then we're not going to have you on the air. So maybe you and
TJ, if you're listening, call me after, because I did find him in my contacts of Skype. So
okay.
All
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting a little. It's the 248th episode, Ray. So we will see you next Monday. Okay.
It's a 249 step process
for another week, because I'm hoping next week we're on. I'm keeping this lettuce growing, baby.
All right. And we will bribe. We could bribe you to shave your head too if you want to do a fun radio clip. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. Have a good week, kid.
At this point, listen. At this point, it's like being at the Hanoi Hilton. You could tell me to do anything, I'll do it. Yeah, that doesn't take much. I'm losing my fucking mind over here.
Yeah, right there with you. All right, buddy. Have a good week,
man. You guys are the best. I'll see you next week.
See you, Ray. Something like it, Ray. Ray Longo Minute every week here on the Anik and Florian podcast.